뉴스 영상에서 나온 영어 한 문장. 영상의 구성은 다음과 같습니다. 그럼 한번 시작해 볼까요?
Swimming in the ocean kept her afloat during the most turbulent times of her life. Swimming in the ocean kept her afloat during the most turbulent times of her life. Swimming in the ocean kept her afloat during the most turbulent times of her life. Swimming in the ocean kept her afloat during the most turbulent times of her life. Okay, next up is the word afloat, which I thought is kind of a interesting word for this because here the video is about swimming and waves and underwater. And one of the meanings of afloat is to really be on top of the water. That isn't how it's used here, but I thought it was kind of an interesting little twist on things. Because in the news clip, we heard it as, she referred to it as that, which goes back to and refers to swimming in the ocean was what when she said that, that's what she meant. It kept her afloat during the most turbulent times of her life. Would you read that sentence for me, John?
Yeah, that kept her afloat during the most turbulent times of her life.
Yeah, try afloat one more time. Break it into two syllables. Not a for some reason, but afloat.
Afloat.
Afloat. Yeah.
Afloat.
Afloat. And try turbulent again.
Turbulent.
Yeah, that was really good. Okay. So here's a definition of afloat. What it means, not afloat like staying on top of the water, but in this use, it means that you're not letting difficulties in your life take control and becoming overwhelming. It's often used to refer to money and finances. And you'll see that actually in this sentence that I did. They managed to keep their business afloat during the pandemic. So the difficulties they were having were related to money. And that's probably how you most often see this word used if it's not referring to somebody, floating in the water. Would you please read that sentence for me? And just pay good attention to how you're going to pronounce afloat.
Afloat. Can you pronounce it one more time for me?
You did it great just then. Afloat.
Afloat.
Perfect.
Okay, here's the sentence. They managed to keep their business afloat during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty true sentence for what became many people's life. Yeah. So some synonyms for the word afloat could be endure, stay resilient, be in control. Those words or phrases might mean the same thing, although I think if you use the word afloat, it just has a better, one of my favorite words, it just has a better zing for English that the listener will think, oh yeah, this person really knows English expressions and English words.
Okay.
So can you think of any difficulties in life that a person might need to not be overwhelmed by? What's something that could happen that would typically make a person feel really overwhelmed?
Actually, before I do that, can you pronounce the first one, the endure? Did you pronounce
Oh, yeah, sure. Endure. It means to put up with.
Okay, endure.
I had to endure a very long test to get my teaching credential.
Okay.
For example, so usually endure, it implies that it's not an easy thing to do. It's something kind of hard.
I see.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Sorry, I could have explained that, huh? So
No,
thank you for asking. I'm glad you asked when you have a question. Please do.
Okay, I will. And then what was the...
what did you ask? What was I saying?
I totally lost.
So can you think of some difficulties that might happen in a person's life that they would need to be careful to not be overwhelmed by? Because I think my goal is to help you come up with a situation where you can make a sentence of your own using the word afloat. So I thought if we talk about what's a type of situation that's difficult that might lead to an easy sentence for afloat.
Probably taking exams
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I bet that's something many people have experienced,
Mhm.
either, at school at some time or maybe even in college, that especially during what we have in the US called finals week,
Mhm.
people can get really overwhelmed because it's like you have a final every day.
Right.
So using that experience, could you put the word afloat into a sentence describing that?
Yeah, so when I was in college, drinking coffee kept me
Delicious
afloat
stuff.
to take all those exams to graduate.
Okay, good. Yeah, because you just wanted to stay afloat. You didn't want the situation of exams to overwhelm you. And thank goodness for coffee to help you along the way.
Yes, coffee is the best.
I have to agree with that.